is time, as we do just about every Thursday during the football season. We talk with Babe Laufenberg, Cowboys color analyst here at 105 through the Fan. Good morning, Babe.
Good morning, guys. I'm already excited about how young is Peyton Russell at 9 o'clock.
It's a great game, Babe. Have you ever heard us play it?
I have not, I love it.
We will give him a decade, 70s, right? 80s, or 90s, and then he picks either sports, society, or entertainment, and then from there, he picks a subcategory. So if it's sports, it's like MLB, NFL, or NBA, and then we just read a name to him, and we see if he knows who that is.
I love it.
Because he's so young, and he has a chance to make money, and he's made very little money before.
And that's like somebody that, obviously a younger person, and they'd say, no, I never saw The Godfather.
Oh, yeah. No, but this was inspired by the fact that years ago he told us he didn't know who Freddie Mercury was.
Oh, God. There you go.
Right, right. Do you have trivia for us, or did you take the day off for Christmas?
No, I do. Let's start with a Christmas trivia, then we'll get to a little sports.
Love it.
Who was Santa's favorite reindeer?
Oh, Santa's favorite reindeer was Comet.
No,
I have no idea.
It was I believe it was Rudolph, right?
Rudolph.
Sure.
Rudolph.
It's in the song.
We don't even know the other reindeer.
The most famous reindeer of all.
Yeah, but he came in late. I was thinking the original
He
reindeer.
was a late arriver.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's funny. No, we kind of know Blitzer, know a little bit about Donner, but there's no question Rudolph was the teacher's pet. Rudolph was the diva wide receiver of the day.
He was.
He was.
Okay, now we'll go quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, okay, he's got 14 rushing touchdowns this year. The NFL record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback is held by two different quarterbacks. Who are they?
Cam Newton.
Who holds the?
Are you doing a career?
Nope. Single season. So Jalen has 14. The record is actually 15, and it's held by two different quarterbacks.
Cam Newton is one.
Lamar.
Nope.
No?
No.
Oh, my
All
gosh.
right. I'll go Vic and Lamar.
No and no.
Oh, my gosh.
Y.A. Tittle and who was the
And Sid Luckman.
Sid Luckman, yes.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Randall Cunningham.
No. Are we going to have to bring in my boy?
I can't believe there's no way this is true. Who am I missing here? Is one of them Jalen Hurts?
We're going to have to go to Peyton.
Bobby Douglas.
Bobby did get one right.
Douglas.
Jalen Hurts is one of them. The other guy plays for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen.
No way. There's no way.
Josh Allen had 15.
When? That's
When
wild.
did he happen, Peyton?
Mike Vick and Lamar never had.
Peyton, when did they have him?
It's a good question. That's for you to find out, Bobby, since you're looking up the answer right now.
Dang, he did last year. He had 15 rushing touchdowns.
And Lamar or Vic or Cam
I'm
or
stunned.
Steve Young never did that.
That is a great trivia question, babe, because I had no clue.
Oh, well, there you go. And
Was it Red Grange, a quarterback, single wing or whatever?
Well, here's the problem, too, or however you want to look at it. Jalen Hurts, he's got 14 rushing touchdowns this year, 11 are the tush push.
Yeah.
So those guys before that ran for touchdowns literally ran for touchdowns. He's got 11 on the tush push. So I don't know if there has to be an asterisk next to that.
Let me ask you this. When was it McFadden ran it at Arkansas, but if you were running the Wildcat, would you get credit with a rushing touchdown if you're like receiving the snap?
That's a great question, and just the top of my head, without knowing the answer, I would say yes. You're the quarterback at that point. But again, I'm about 90% sure, but that's not good enough.
Okay.
I do love the way you guys say, no, that's wrong. That's wrong.
You were right. I don't question. I can't question Babe Laufenberg. That was how young is R.J. Choppy and Bobby Bell.
That was a fantastic trivia question.
Oh, there you go.
Babe, we appreciate that
like one. Then if you get your buddies. You know what's funny? I always said, too, before we had, Google and could look things up on our phone, whatever, you're at the bar, you're having a beer. It's the guy who yelled their answer the loudest and was who dug their feet in. That usually was, well, I guess you're right. And we all know those people, right?
Yeah,
but now you just say, oh, you know what, let me check that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it really, Google has really ended barroom arguments.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, which is great, actually, because I'm not a big screamer or yeller. I don't raise my voice, so I would lose the argument.
Babe.
No, you just very quietly say, well, you know what, let's Google that.
Let's just look it up.
Let's just look it up.
Very good. You nailed it, babe.
Babe Laufenberg joined us here at 105 through the Fan. All right, so you mentioned the Philly running game with Hurts as a running quarterback, but how has their passing game been this year?
Very average, as you guys probably have seen. And I don't know. I mean, the whole thing with Hurts is make him be a pocket passer. And it's just been disjointed. It's very strange. And I've watched some games. I've watched some tape. There are people open, and you just say, throw it, and then all of a sudden he starts moving out of the pocket. And on TV, it doesn't do it justice, obviously, and for good reason, but they're kind of following the ball. You're getting a tight shot. You're not seeing people downfield until they come back and show a replay and show you what happened. But there are people open, and I know Drew Bledsoe, we talked at one time, and he said when he was in New England, Parcells would just stand behind him during practice and say, throw it, throw it, throw it, like the minute he took the snap. He said, I got so tired of that, and he said the games were so easy because I couldn't hear him. I'm on the field, I'm playing. And when I'm watching Jalen sometimes, I just want to say, throw it, throw it. So, but obviously they're running the ball pretty darn well.
Yeah, and what is it that's been different with Saquon? Has it just been the health, or are they doing different things schematically? Is Kellen, running different run concepts that he didn't have when he was here in Dallas? What's been the difference for Saquon Barkley this year?
I mean, it's just the talent around him. We know how bad the Giants were and are and probably will be for the next decade. He's got receivers here. They've got threats on the outside. You can't load the box. He's got a much better, obviously, offensive line. It's not like Saquon suddenly became a good running back.
Yeah.
It's just now he's got the ability to kind of, show off what he can do. And I think everybody liked him, right?
Right.
Liked him coming out, liked him at the Giants. He was like their only threat with almost the entire career that he was there. And I just think, obviously, he's around better players.
Babe, when you look at how well Cooper Rush has played specifically the last couple of weeks, what's been the difference for him? Are they doing – it felt like watching this game back this past week, it felt like they were trying to do some different things offensively, and that it looked, at least for me, a little more classic West Coast, some of the slant flat stuff, the get the ball out quick. What have you seen offensively from the Cowboys in the last couple of weeks that has Cooper Rush looking as comfortable as he does?
Well, there was that, the things that you talked about, and then it's funny because those deep overs, those deep crosser routes, they just went away. I don't know why. You could say, well, they didn't trust the line or this or that, but they got really three of them. They got one to Flanoy, one to Cooks, one to CD, and that had almost totally disappeared from this offense. So, that they were missing the big play, and by the big play I mean 20 plus, right? I think Cooks was 29, and they got 20 something to Flanoy, and that was just totally gone. And that was a staple, as we know, of the Kellen Moore offense. Man, they ran the heck out of those things, and the big plays come off of them. So I personally was really happy to see that coming back into the offense, and I hope it continues. Now, obviously, it is predicated who you're playing, how they play you, but it just totally went away from the offense. And that was of all the things I took out of that game offensively, that made me the happiest.
What do you make of what's your take on Sirianni, the coach?
Honestly, I don't know what to make of him because the guy's been there 3 years. They've been to the playoffs 3 years, and everybody wants him fired. But it's funny. I think that team has some maturity issues. We saw it last week. C.J. Carter-Johnson kicked out of the game. Jalen Carter gets I think it was his fourth unsportsmanlike, and they kind of lose their composure. And how everybody wants to say, the Lions are taking on the personality of their head coach. Well, Philadelphia kind of takes on the personality of their head coach as well. I've never seen a coach. You could say, what about this guy? who like engages the fans like he does or whatever, all these superfluous things. I mean, there's security guy. There's 32 of those guys, but we only know one.
Big Dom.
Big Dom. I mean, he's in there getting between Sirianni and the defensive line coach because Sirianni's going to go after Jalen Carter or, have words with him. It's almost comical, how they run that thing. And I think you spoke, Bobby, earlier today on the show about their chemistry as a team. And it does seem like there's drama for something every week, right?
Yep.
A.J. Brown tweeting something about the passing game, and the next week it's this guy, and the next week it's this guy, and then it's Sirianni. Probably the good thing is Harry Roseman, he does not talk during the season. He believes it has to be one voice. So you never hear from Harry Roseman. But I think if we did, there'd be another guy that we could say, did you hear what Harry Roseman said? But again, he talks, I think, at training camp once, and then after the season, and then the draft and all. But during the season, he said it's got to be one voice, and it's got to be the head coach.
They've been, and we're talking with Babe Laufenberg here on 105 through the Philadelphia has been really good in their secondary this year, and the way they've played in that back in that back half of the defense. Is this a game this week where, as good as they are defensively, I mean, Philadelphia's pretty all around strong. Is this a game where you say, hey, this has got to be a Rico Dowdle game? Even after Tampa seemed to kind of key in on that last week and slow him down. Yeah, to an extent, and I do think they have the people, as you mentioned, they can cover people, right? If you got to play cover 2 all day to help your corners, and you got 7 guys in there to play the run, they can do a lot of things defensively. They're about, I mean, you'd have to say, well, what about this team? And I'd say, oh yeah, they may be better, but they're about as talented a defensive group. I mean, player by player. If you said, do you want this guy or do you want your guy? You're going to take their guy. Mm-hmm. About 80% of the positions there. And the pass defense has gone, to your point, they may have been last year. They're right at the bottom. And now they're right at the top. And Vic Fangio, no matter what you think of him, or he knows how to coordinate a defense. I mean, he is good. And as you recall, that was Cooper Rush's first start, and just totally shut down the passing game in that one. Now, I will say Cooper was rusty. I had an issue in the preseason about not playing Cooper Rush. Mm-hmm. It was all about Trey Lance. And I want to say, well, you may want to get your backup, the guy who's going to be your backup, you may want to get him ready to play. So I think what we're seeing from Cooper, because Cooper barely played in the preseason.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he was Joe Flacco, right? And he's got 200 starts under his belt, and he's played a lot of football. He hadn't. He needed to be out there, working with the offense and doing the in games. I know they're preseason, but they help. And to me, that was, at the time, I even said to Brad at the end of the preseason, I don't understand why you're not getting Cooper Rush some work. So he comes back, long and short, his first game. You don't think he was a little rusty?
Oh, for sure.
Against Philadelphia in that game 1. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. And obviously Philadelphia schematically shut down the Cowboys in that game, and Cooper wasn't good and all that. So it'll be interesting to see the evolution of the offense and Cooper Rush, getting them 6 weeks later, Philadelphia.
Thank you, Babe. Have a good call.
Okay. Merry Christmas belatedly to all you guys. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Babe. Babe Laufenberg joining us here on 105.3 The Fan.